26 on August 17th.
Just to go over my last UFC pick'em, I didn't do that well. I got 7 of 12. Actually, would have got 8 of 12 if I wouldn't have changed some picks. But I'm still ranked number 486 overall. I'll get up there. Anyways, let's go on to next week's event here. This weekend's event, UFC Fight Night 26, Shogun Rua versus Chael Sonnen. And we'll start, as always, with the undercard. Starting out the card, we have Ramsey Ninjum versus James Vick. James Vick, I think this is, I'm going to say his first fight in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. But, I could be wrong. That's what it has for James Vick. He's 4-0 on Sherdog. Ramsey Ninjum is 7-3. I'm going to go over these fights really quickly. I think Vick is going to get the knockout on Ninjum in the first round or second round, and yep, that's what I believe. The next fight is Cody Donovan versus Ovince St. Preux. For those people that don't know about St. Preux, he fought a lot in Strikeforce. He's shows a lot of potential, but then again, he also has a lot of improvement, a lot of areas I think that he can improve in, but he's got a lot of raw talent, and due to that and his physicality and just his athleticism, he's probably one of the most athletic guys to probably come over from Strikeforce that people don't know about. I think that he's going to handle Donovan and either knock him out early in the first, or late in the first, or early in the second, something like that. Is what I'm thinking. So I got Ovince St. Preux winning by a KO. Cole Miller versus Manny Gambirian. This should be an interesting fight. Cole Miller is pretty tall for his weight class, and Manny Gambirian is not that tall. So what I think this comes down to is Gambirian not being able to get close to Miller and not being able to really hit him. Kind of chasing him probably throughout the fight, and Miller eventually probably taking it down to the ground where he wants it, and either winning a decision or submitting Gambirian. Very likely that this could go to decision. I'm being optimistic, thinking that Miller is going to submit Gambirian, but this could be one where Miller just kind of runs around the ring, popping Manny in the face. Gambirian probably hits him a couple good times, but nothing solid, and overall ends up maybe losing a decision. Could win a decision depending on how Miller plays it. If he just runs around the ring and doesn't, take Gambirian down at all, and Gambirian is the aggressor, you never know. Even though I don't see him really putting him in too many situations where Cole Miller will have problems. You never know. The next fight is a guy that I'm really excited to see fight, Brandao versus Pineda. It's Diego Brandao. He was on, I want to say season 1 or whatever, or season of the Tough Brazil. Anyways, his record is 17-8, but lately, he's been, the way I've seen him fight lately is really exciting. He's fighting Daniel Pineda, who, let me just bring that up, sorry about that. Daniel Pineda, there we go. He's 18-9, and just coming off a win over Justin Lawrence, a submission win in the first round. I really think that this is going to be a really good and good fight, but I also could see Brandao knocking Pineda out right in the first. That's what I chose, but I could also see this just being a war that goes to decision, and because it goes to decision, I could see literally either one of these guys winning decision, most likely Brandao, because of how explosive he is. I'm going to put Brandao by... Brandao by KO, but then if he doesn't finish him or knock him out in the first or second round, Pineda could have the advantage because Brandao could get tired. Next, fight is Mike Brown versus Steven Siler. Mike Brown's one of those guys from the WEC that was champ, was really good, and then just fallen on hard times. He hasn't really had a good fight, and I don't remember how long. Steven Siler, on the other hand, he, he's an up-and-comer that's just, has a win over Kurt Holloway at UFC 159, but Thomas's last win was in 2012 over Daniel Pineda, and then a win over Nam Pham. But to be honest, he hasn't shown like he used to. Those 2 fights were decision wins. They were pretty kind of lackluster, if I remember correctly, and I just wasn't impressed with him. I still think that he should be able to beat Siler, but I think it's going to be another decision win. But I could be wrong. He could knock him out. I mean, he's due for a knockout. Next fight, McGregor versus Holloway. I think that for this fight, it's kind of hard for me. I'm not sure. But I went with McGregor just by decision, and that's what I'm sticking with. Then we got Brad Pickett versus Michael McDonald. Michael McDonald's 15-2. Brad Pickett's 23-7. Really, Brad Pickett, I think, is in for a tough test with this, and I think McDonald is going to clearly pull away with a unanimous decision victory, or he will beat Pickett by some other means before that. I don't know how, though. I can't really... it's a tough one for me to see. This was Joe Lauzon versus Johnson. I have a feeling that Joe Lauzon versus Michael Johnson will be a really good fight, but Johnson might start to gas like he's done before towards the second, and Lauzon doesn't really gas that much, and he's just so technical everywhere, and he's pretty well-rounded. I think that he submits him round 2. Uriah Hall versus John Howard. Uriah Hall, everybody was building him up to be this, just this badass that couldn't be, this next Anderson guy, and he hadn't even won the show, and I had a feeling that when that fight happened, that something bad was going to happen because of all the hype that they put into him. But that being said, I think he comes back from his loss, or whatever you want, his loss he had, and not being able to win the tough season. And I think he defeats Howard by TKO in the first round, actually, maybe second round. Then we got Matt the Immortal Brown versus Mike Pyle. Mike Pyle is 25-8-1. Matt Brown is 17-11. Notable wins for Matt Brown. He's got Mike Swick, Chris Cope. He beat Pete Sell way back when. But recently he's been on a five fight win streak. He's actually been fighting really well lately. Same with Mike Pyle. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He beat Rick Story. It was a decision, but he still beat him, which is a notable win. He's beaten Josh Neer and John Hathaway as well. He's got notable losses to like Jake Ellenberger and Rory McDonald, and Matt Brown's notable losses are to, I guess, Seth Basinski and Chris Lytle. Anyways, the way I see this going, I see this being a tough, maybe fight of the night fight. I think, like they say, it's a tight matchup. I think Brown takes the decision, and that's what I think. Faber versus Yuri Alcantara. Uriah Faber's 28-6. Yuri Alcantara's 28-4. Really, Uriah Faber, I think, is better than Alcantara everywhere this fight takes place, except for possibly, jiu-jitsu, obviously. So, that being said, I think Faber is smart. He's going to just work his game and beat him up for 3 rounds, basically taking him down and then letting him back up maybe if it looks like he's trying to attempt submissions. But, yeah, this should be an interesting fight because Yuri Alcantara, if I'm not mistaken, had a really odd fight over, like 2 fights ago, I think it was, versus Pedro Nobre, where he had that accidental foul, but and then he had the KO win over Larde Santos. So I don't know. He's 33. He's 5'6". So he's not going to have much of a reach advantage really, or anything like that. They're both small guys. I think that I think Faber wins by decision. Here's one of the people, the upsets I think I have called. I think a lot of people think Overeem. You know, he's one of my favorite fighters for lots of reasons. But I think in recent times, just kind of, I don't know what it is about him. He's a little overhyped, I want to say. He hasn't done much for me lately. You know, he beat a guy that wasn't really an MMA fighter, and Brock Lesnar, and everybody was like, oh my god, you know, that was the first time they really saw him. I'd been watching Overeem since he weighed 180 pounds when he was tiny, back when he fought in Pride, and, you know, it's weird to see, you know, and it's weird to see the progression of how big he got and everything, the steroid allegations and all that. That being said, to be honest, I just think Brown is just naturally a bigger guy than Overeem. Overeem is a big guy, obviously now, but I don't think his frame was ever intended to be that big. And I think Matt Brown. I'm sorry. I think Travis Brown will knock him out. I think he beats him in the first round, and I think that might be like the last time we see Overeem in the UFC, or one of the last few times. I think it'll be brutal. And for the main event, Chael Sonnen versus Shogun Rua. And by the way, this Brown versus Overeem fight, I definitely would play some money, especially if you can get Brown for, he's the underdog. I think I got him for plus, I want to say 200 or something. Got to look at it. Anyways, if you can get him for decent, try to, because I really do believe he's got good value, and I think that I think he can beat Overeem. I really do. I think he will. But, I want Overeem to win. I'm a fan of Overeem, but I don't know. Lately with him. Anyways, Chael Sonnen versus Shogun Rua. I've been going back and forth a little bit with this. I'm like, which Chael shows up? Is it the Chael that really wants to be here? Or is it Shogun? And then also, which Shogun shows up? So, really, that's what makes this a hard fight. If you knew that the best Shogun was showing up and the best Chael was showing up, I would probably then say, okay, Chael is going to win, just based on the fact that he's going to control him, and he can, choose where the fight takes place, even if it was the best Shogun from, when he was world beater, like, whatever. But, that being said, we don't know which guy is showing up for either case, so it's hard to say. I'm still going to err on the side of the wrestling of Chael Sonnen, just because he's just able to control people so well, and who hasn't shown that he can stop takedowns that well? Like, he's okay, but his takedown defense isn't like the best or anything. So I think Sonnen maybe grinds out a boring decision, possibly. Sorry, Chael, but yeah, that's what I think. Otherwise, it could be, I don't know. I really think that's going to happen. I think he's going to take him down repeatedly, and they're going to the ref will stand it up, and who will maybe hit him a few times, and we'll have some sparks of some sparks of old Shogun, but in the end, I think Sonnen will win his decision. But if like Sonnen that just doesn't really want to be in the octagon shows up, yeah, I could see who knocking him out and really putting himself in a good position. But I don't think so. I think Sonnen knows that when you go in the cage, you can't take shit lightly, and he's gonna be ready and whatnot. So those are my picks for UFC Fight Night 26. Like I said, I'm ranked 46. If you want to Twitter me, whatever, ask me questions about fights, feel free. Send it to me on my YouTube or my Twitter account, which is @SepSeverus79. Thanks, guys.